On this episode of 6 Degrees of Cinema, it's contemplating POW films. Hi, and welcome to 6 Degrees of Cinema. I'm Dean Augustin. 6 Degrees of Cinema is a web series that takes a fresh look at entertainment. Most of what we talk about is readily available via streaming or downloading on the web. We stream together 6 episodes to create a theme-filled season of 6 Degrees. Now, we left episode 1 talking about the actor William Holden.
2 packs of cigarettes say Dunbar never gets out of the compound.
Are you starting that again?
Anybody cover?
Somebody step on that crumb.
We warned you, Sefton. Sure you warned me. You were going to slit the throat of that stoolie. Here's the knife to do it with. Only make sure you got the right throat.
We're looking at it. Hurry up on that trapdoor. What are you trying to do, gum up the works?
That's right. Or would you rather see Dunbar lying out there in the mud in the morning like Manfredi and Johnson?
Look, Sefton, I had my hands full keeping these guys from tearing you apart.
I called it last time, didn't I?
Are we going to stand around here and listen to him until the Germans find out where Dunbar is?
The Germans know where Dunbar is.
How do they know?
You told them, Hoffy.
Who did?
You did.
Are you off your rocker?
Uh-huh. Fell right on my head. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
No, I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Maybe just one word? Kaput? Because you're kaput, Price.
Will you get this guy out of my hair so I can go?
Go where? To the commandant's office and tell him where Dunbar is?
Why, I'll kill you for
Shut up. Security officer, huh? Always screening everybody. Only who screens you? Great American hero from Cleveland, Ohio, enlisted right after Pearl Harbor. When was Pearl Harbor, Price, or don't you know that?
December 7th, 41.
What time?
6 o'clock. I was having dinner.
6 o'clock in Berlin. They were having lunch in Cleveland. Am I boring you boys?
William Holden played characters with a cool, cynical detachment, and that is especially true for 2 of the best POW films ever made. As prisoner of war entrepreneur in Stalag 17, Holden won the Academy Award for Best Actor. He is widely recognized for his role as escaped prisoner turned reluctant saboteur and hero in Bridge on the River Kwai with Alec Guinness. Bridge on the River Kwai won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1957. POW films celebrate the endurance and ingenuity of soldiers in captivity, and the best POW films balance that with the reality and the trauma of imprisonment. Now, say what you will, films about prisoners of war make for compelling cinema. There are epics like The Great Escape from 1963 and classics like 1937's The Grand Illusion. But if I can recommend only one POW film, it would be 2014's The Railway Man.
Well, I'd never been to the Highlands before.
It's very romantic. You romantic?
He's a wonderful man. I've seen it, but he's a mess. I want to know what happened to Eric. I don't believe in this code of silence that you have.
War leaves a mark.
This is the BBC. Allied forces in Singapore have surrendered to the Japanese.
When we surrendered, the Jap said we weren't men. A real man would die of shame.
You have no honor.
You're here to help us.
To build a railway.
If you help, you will have a good war.
But we said no. We'll live to fight you. We'll live for revenge.
He's alive.
He's alive, and I know where he is. He won't have a clue you're coming.
This is what you're going to do, isn't it?
I'm afraid the museum is closed.
I'm surprised you don't recognize me.
Lomax. I am asking the questions. You answer. I did not expect you to be alive.
What happened in that room? What did they do to you? A lot of men went through something you can't imagine. You'd have to let us just cope with it.
My husband isn't coping. I love him, and I want him back.
Will you stand by him, whatever he does?
I have to try.
I have suffered much, but I know you have suffered too. And you mean everything to me. Sometime the hating has to stop.
The Railway Man is wrenching, profound, and beautifully made. It teams award-winning actors Colin Firth and Nicole Kidman and the Swedish star Stellan Skarsgård. The Railway Man is truly a remarkable film. It's the true story of Eric Lomax, a British soldier captured in the fall of Singapore in 1942. Now, he survived the war and confronted his torturer 40 years later. It's an inspiring story about endurance, courage, forgiveness, and making peace with the past. In many ways, The Railway Man is everything that the critics said 2015's Unbroken wasn't. Prior to seeing The Railway Man, I was captivated by another POW film from 1983, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
Flowers once, every 5 years. That's all.
I'll be back. If aren't flowers again. Cross my heart.
Once there was a place where the earth was soaked in blood and tears. And that is where the brightest flowers grew.
How do you plead?
Not guilty. I'm not a criminal. I am a soldier of His Majesty's Army.
You must tell us your past history.
My past is my business.
You have been found guilty on all charges. The sentence will be carried out without delay.
What kind of man is he? Is he a close friend of yours?
No, he's not a close friend, no.
Make him well. Heal him quickly.
They're a nation of anxious people. And they could do nothing individually. Live in the past, these fellas.
God help them, Lawrence.
I don't know what to make of you, Lawrence. You're either very clever or you're bloody stupid.
Well, I've tried the manju, and I've tried the flowers. I think the flowers taste better.
Why will you not fight me? If you defeat me, you will be free.
I think it has taken a bit of a shine to you.
If he's got something on his mind, why doesn't he come out with it?
Who do you think you are? Are you an evil spirit?
Yeah. And one of yours, I hope.
Do you remember that Christmas? It was a good Christmas, wasn't it?
Lawrence! Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
They were all honorable men. But oh, what deeds could be done in the name of honor. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
You probably recognize the late David Bowie as the POW, Jack Colliers, and long before Brokeback Mountain, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence used the homosexual attraction between Colliers and prison commander, played by Ryuichi Sakamoto, as one of its central themes. Very bold for the time. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence was also labeled an anti-war film in which the British and the Japanese characters seemed to be saying that both sides were right in the war and both sides were wrong. But anti-war films are another episode of 6 Degrees. What makes Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence special is it's part of the Criterion collection. And that is the connection to our next episode of 6 Degrees, as we have a primer on the Criterion collection. Thanks for joining us on this episode of 6 Degrees of Cinema. I think I nailed that one. Yeah, that was really good. Okay, let's not tempt fate.